Hi, everyone. I'm Guy Currier. I am CTO at Visible Impact, which is part of Futurum Group. I kind of do double duty with Futurum a little bit, but for the most part, Visible Impact handles go-to-market services for Futurum clients. I wanted to talk a little bit about AI and my contention that there are three distinct life cycles to AI for any enterprises or organizations out there wanting to adopt and use AI. I want to start, though, with a quick rant that I think everyone here has heard from me before, which is that AI is not an application. There is no such thing as an AI application. There are applications that contain AI services. And what you are developing when you're developing AI is a service that goes into an application. The usual example I give is what everyone thinks of as AI, which is a chat application that uses AI to provide responses. It takes prompts and it provides responses. When you think about it this way, you can think about what you're developing as a service at some form or some level of development that gets incorporated in possibly many different applications, but it itself is not an application. So maybe I didn't raise my voice, but that's my rant because I feel like I'm saying it all the time. The critical element here is that when we are thinking about adopting, developing, and using AI, my sense is that we tend to think about it pretty simplistically, that it is a thing that we are getting the talent and the developers and the integrators and so forth to either create or adopt. And actually, that's really only the case for the foundational models that we are all really familiar with. And that's where I think the first mistake starts to happen, or the first error in thinking, which is that I need tons of high-speed infrastructure, GPUs, whatever, whether we buy it and deploy it ourselves or we're using it normally at one of the hyperscalers or one of the cloud providers. But this is really for creation of the initial foundational models, whether they're LLMs like GPT and Llama, or more visual, computer vision-oriented ones, or image-oriented ones like SAM or DALL-E. That really is the start of your own adoption and development of AI, and normally someone else is doing it. Can you create your own foundational models? Absolutely you can. That is a major investment of time and usually treasure and talent as well. What you may be doing, and in some cases this is optional, your first step may be to take foundational models as a service, whether hosted yourself or hosted by somebody else, and incorporate it into your applications. But what you may also want to do, and increasingly need to do, and this is where a whole lot of focus is right now, is tuning that model. That's where your proprietary data comes in. That's where you're starting to develop your own IP. Almost every SaaS vendor out there right now has incorporated some kind of foundational model and then tuned it based on whatever service it is they're providing. Thomson Reuters, for example, has been providing a legal information service to lawyers for years and years. They have incorporated an AI service into it so that now the lawyers can ask for briefs or letters or any of those kind of legal documents to be drafted using Thomson Reuters proprietary case data and various forms of legal data. That has its own distinct life cycle. If you have a data scientist who is taking a foundational model and tuning it, there is the same typical application development stack you're thinking of: infrastructure, tooling, deployment, development, all working together, but now it's developing an AI service using source data, using cycles of training, using all the kinds of development testing typical, but now with sort of the admixture of data science and the importance of data structures and data relevance and all that stuff mixed in. So it's different from typical app dev in a number of ways, but otherwise it's a similar development cycle. And that means that you're going to develop, you're going to put it into a pipeline, you're going to release, you're going to test, you're going to have that same loop back into sandboxing or further development of it. You can use any kind of development model you like: waterfall, agile. You can use DevOps and all that sort of thing. And it is distinct from the foundational models that are still being developed, whether by yourself or typically by, one of the big services. And when those are released, that can trigger another element of tuning of the model. So what's the third? The third is retrieval augmented generation. Now, you might not think of this as something with its own life cycle. What is RAG? RAG is we do some kind of search, whether it's on-prem enterprise search or a public search or a combination of both, a document, whatever it is, in some way adding context to the prompt that the user inputs, whether it's the user themselves providing that context, that additional data, or more typically as part of the prompt, the system itself is looking. And when you think about that, that is yet another element of this service that needs to be developed and monitored and have a feedback loop, which is how at the moment of query, at the moment of prompting, how and in what way that additional contextual data is added, where it's added from, what the quality of that data is, the relevance of that data. So now we have a tuned model, potentially, and we need to continue to develop and improve, both in quality and in features, how RAG is going to work at the moment of prompt. That's 3 distinct life cycles. That's 3 distinct stacks, potentially 3 distinct infrastructure strategies or paradigms, development strategies and paradigms. I think this is a simple way to understand that that first step into AI may simply be on the left, but ultimately the goal we are trying to get to is a model that works, that's tuned to the specifics of the application and the business scenario, and that can be responsive and contextual, and all 3 of those need to be addressed. So that's my talk. Thank you.